let me expose the myth of the martyr to help you stop being a martyr and start being a master. Martyrdom, being a martyr. It's often involving overgiving. And this overgiving is really because one under-receives. You look at being a martyr, there's a resistance to receiving. And you see that's not balance. To be giving without receiving is an imbalance. It's a distortion. It's not wholeness. Wholeness involves receiving. It's not one-sided. It's not just giving, 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 and not being able to receive. With the martyrdom conditioning, this conditioning of overgiving and under-receiving, is deeply conditioned in spirituality. There is often a split, a division about money. Where one doesn't want to touch it, get involved with it, because they believe money is not spiritual. Again, another example of that split. They can give, but they can't receive. They can provide a service, but there's no exchange of value. A lot of people in the spiritual community that are identified with this conditioning, that still have this distortion being expressed in them because they haven't seen it within themselves, is due to guilt, shame, the fear of what other people think in the form of being seen as greedy. One often tries to uphold and maintain this spiritual image as the pure one. I'm too pure to touch money. Or the image of the Savior. Look at how much I have sacrificed for the world. I'm servicing the community, the collective, tirelessly, endlessly. And I don't have any time to replenish myself. I'm incapable of receiving the nourishment, the sustenance that will sustain what I am actually doing in the world. It is often done in the name of selfless service. Look at how selfless I am. all the good work that I'm doing. But really this is overperforming, an overcompensation. All the doing, all the service is actually coming from a place of emptiness. One's not serving from fullness. They're serving from emptiness, and the overdoing, the overperformance becomes a coping mechanism, a way to avoid the shame, the guilt. They hide behind the label humble. I don't charge because I'm humble. It's my humility. This downplaying is often an avoidance for truly stepping into one's true power. Because when you step into your true power, it will make other people uncomfortable. When you truly embody your worth, you won't need to overperform and overcompensate. You won't be trying to earn your worth, because you'll be embodying your true value. And in doing so, in being so, you won't have the division within yourself that sees money as an exchange of value in the modern world as something separate from the spirituality that you live. You won't have that division, that something is spiritual and something is not spiritual. You won't have that superiority and inferiority, that what you're doing is so good in the world, it's so pure, it's so clean, that you can't touch the dirty money anymore. That selfless service is actually self-abandonment. You've abandoned yourself. You're denying your own sustainability. The sustainability to do what you love. Doing what you love is only sustainable when you're able to receive, when you stop blocking, when you stop denying receiving. That exchange. Until that's seen, it's an imbalance within yourself that's manifested in an unequal energy exchange in your relationships. And you'll feel it as a silent resentment, a slow burnout, and a subtle leak. This leak is you not containing your power. You're giving it away. You still are seeking validation, approval, and acceptance. when one is doing everything for free, offering, and never being nourished. Giving but never receiving, that imbalance is experienced in all areas of their life, not just in the aspect of service. They'll experience that leak in all areas. They'll be a yes man or a yes woman. They won't know the power of saying no. They won't have boundaries. One is typically resisting their own power. When they're still identified with this conditioning that is expressed in the archetype of the martyr. It's selfless service, but I'm somehow seeking some recognition for my selfless service. You see how sneaky it is? It's selfless service, but it's coming from this emptiness where I'm drained, exhausted. So how effective is that service when you're drained by it? It's devotion, but it lacks discipline. Again, that imbalance. Caught up in the flow, but there's no structure. Again, the imbalance. So whether you call it an imbalance, whether you call it a distortion, it's still this conditioning that prevents one from experiencing the completeness of themselves, the wholeness of themselves, and the fullness of the life that they are. Trying to be humble, look pure, polished. Bug on my screen. Or better than others is still that identity that one is preserving, shaping. There's often this division within oneself because there's the conditioning of the should and shouldn't based off of the spiritual conditioning, the conditioning that is present in many spiritual communities and in scriptures and texts, online. This conditioning is so prevalent. It's really only seen by going deeper within oneself. And in going deeper within oneself, you're required to live what you've realized. So one won't come to this recognition, this realization. One won't have this clarity, these insights, without embodying the truth that they've realized. This sort of conditioning, you meet it upon your return to the world. Those who are avoiding life, hiding from their humanity, identifying with the absolute, won't meet this level, this depth of conditioning. And you see how prevalent it is because it's this collective conditioning in the very circles that you may have been in during your awakening. The very circle that you may have been in, that you had the realization of truth, you'll find this conditioning in it. And once you start seeing it within yourself, you'll see how it's everywhere. It's so prominent. You'll see it in your favorite teachers, the most popular teachers. You'll see it so present online. You'll start recognizing it as that imbalance, that distortion. Only when you start seeing it in yourself. And you'll stop resonating with those teachers when you have exposed it within yourself, rebalanced it within yourself, come into the embodiment of wholeness for yourself, as yourself. So this overcompensation, the overdoing, overgiving, overperforming, the shaping a perfect, polished, humble, pure self-image, not asking for anything because you're beyond all needs, not asking for commitment because you fear being rejected, afraid to charge for your services, for your structure, for your offering. Because you fear being greedy, or being seen as greedy, I should say. You fear losing those who have come to know you as the pure, as the humble, as the selfless servant. You see that actually what you're meeting within yourself is that pattern that's been there all along, taking different shapes and forms And it's that pattern of self-abandonment. Abandoning yourself in many different ways. You're not worthy of receiving, or you're ashamed of or for receiving, or you're guilty for receiving. So many different ways it shows up. Let me just offer selfless service, and I will give to everyone except for myself. And you see, it's like you've drawn a circle saying, I'm going to serve everyone in the circle except for me, and you stand outside the circle. That's the division. It's such a subtle division. But nonetheless, it's a division, because wholeness would include you as well. You would be in that circle. You have to serve yourself and allow yourself to receive, to truly be of service. So it's sort of like this self-abandonment, this sort of excluding yourself from your own life, to say it in simple terms, where when you start seeing this within yourself and this pattern of self-abandonment comes to an end, it's this full embrace where you've embraced life fully, completely, wholly. But really what's happened is you've embraced yourself wholly, completely, unconditionally. And that's the end of that self-abandonment pattern. Where it's been shape-shifting your entire life. Just wearing different disguises. Wearing the disguise of being the humble one or the pure one. The one that's afraid of rejection, the one that's afraid to lose their following or their community, the one that doesn't want to be seen as greedy. It's actually pretty funny when you start seeing it, because one is saying, well, there's nobody here to receive. It's just life that's just overgiving through this body, but yet they experience this fear, the fear of being seen as greedy, the fear of asking for commitment because they fear being rejected, the fear of being seen as normal because they want to be seen as superior, more noble. And it's very subtle. And that identity is right there. It's the one that's excluded itself from the whole. It's the subtle separation. And when you see this clearly, that conditioning that continues to play out, it stops. There's no longer anyone that's abandoning. There's no longer any one that's separate. There's no longer anyone that's excluded. So that distortion dissolves. And everything is brought back to balance. The balance of the one. The balance of wholeness. The wholeness that you are. So if you're ready to stop being the martyr and be the master that you are, I invite you to embrace your whole self, to experience the fullness of life. So join me in living truth.